Watu, welcome to the Daily Examiner. It is a really excellent guest that we have on today, and we're really lucky to be able to get him because he is someone who does get requested by different media for interviews. I would love to welcome you all to Simon Anderson. Thank you so much, Simon, for coming on and having a discussion with us.
Hello, Elliot. I'm so extremely pleased to have been invited onto your show. I can't tell you how much it means to me.
Oh, I love it. And hey, you said talofa. Very cool. Hey, not bad at all. So, very good. We do want to talk about what happened at the Posie Parker, the transactivist violence that occurred there. You are well known for having great footage, and I think that's been really powerful. Sadly, of course, the transactivist violence we saw against women speaking then led to international mockery of New Zealand. New Zealand is seen as a place not to speak up if you are a woman, and I think that is quite shocking, and we really do thank you for that. Now, you have been able to source some of the communications from the police discussions during the day. Is that correct?
Yes, that's true. I've become something of a clearinghouse for video footage and information because people know that I can be trusted if they wish to remain anonymous. That I will publish footage or information on their behalf. But Elliot, just to come back to your previous point, you are absolutely right that our country and our region of the world has been absolutely embarrassed by these events, and correcting that is something that I think all of the people of our country should engage in.
Absolutely. Well said. Now, I'm not sure if I can ask this or not, and I want to be careful. Please reject me at any stage of any question that I'm asking. Are you supportive of Posie Parker or Kelly J and what she had to speak on, or at least the idea that women should be able to speak up against things that may not go for the cultural norm at the moment?
I'm absolutely supportive. I thoroughly believe in the right of free speech, and I think that that people like Kelly Jane Keane Mitchell, Posie Parker, should have the right to be able to speak in public and not be interfered with.
Yep, well said. And yourself, you've obviously got a bit of understanding, definitely a big understanding in terms of tech and of the internet and the cultural war that we have going on at the moment. How would you feel, or how would you view the reaction of the international community to what happened? Now, I said what I think, but I might be wrong. What are your thoughts?
As of the 25th of March, I was just a nobody on Twitter, publishing little bits of prose that I write and talking about my interests, things like fountain pens and so on. 3 days later, I was getting 20 notifications per second and massive media requests from around the world. Reuters news agency, Al Jazeera, GB News in the UK, Sky News. The embarrassment of our country in the international media is just it is absolutely astonishing, and the dichotomy between that interest of the international media of just how awful our country appeared compared to what our domestic media was publishing could not have been greater.
Yep, stunning, absolutely stunning. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I agree totally with you what you're saying. Right, so getting back to the transactivist violence on the day, we of course had the police going out there. Rhonda Stace, who was one of the people who was engaged in the conversation around that, is of course a Auckland Pride parade. What do you know about Rhonda Stace, and where does she fit into this story that we're speaking on?
Well, I wouldn't care to speculate beyond the fact that there's mention in the heavily redacted OIA response material of that person, and the fact that there was an email between that person as a representative of the New Zealand Police and Auckland Pride and the demonstrators, and I strongly suspect that the content of that email will be very instructive.
And you do raise, of course, one of the issues that we have is that in the articles that we've seen, or the emails that you brought out and the communications that are there, they are heavily redacted, heavily. And I find that quite extraordinary, because there's a lot of information which I think is in scope that they're labeling out of scope. Is this something that you're aware of in terms of why would they label something out of scope?
Yes, I'm particularly conscious of that, and I'm aware that the person who lodged those OIA requests and to whom I'm extremely thankful for providing to me has or is about to subsequently ask the Ombudsman to look into how heavily they were redacted and the delay in they being published. The thing with OIAs is they are supposed to be published within 20 days, and if you think that March 25th was, it was 3 or 4 months ago now, and only now are responses to the OIAs about the Posie Parker visit being published, and the timing of them 1 week before she was due to revisit our country is at the least interesting.
Yes, yeah, absolutely right. In the communications that we see there, we see that there is a leader confirmation going on here. There's a name that's redacted and it says confirmed as employed by Pride NZ. However, are not organisers for tomorrow's event. They are purely attending in support of main organisers. You'll see that up on a screen that we're putting up. And it's interesting that the counter-protesters appear to be the plan surrounding the banned rotunda, creating enough noise to drown out the speakers. 500 to 2,000 is given. They're supposedly saying that it is a noise celebration rather than conflict, and planned is for tomorrow to be violence free. And under concerns, it's very notable that they put no specific concerns as such, even though people were turning up with homemade armour, with very offensive signage calling for what I would regard anyway as violent assault upon these people. The overview from the Posie Parker side of things was mothers, grandmothers, and daughters, and that it was there was a much stronger push to make this friendly, to make this peaceful, and that they wanted the police, and I think this is probably one of the biggest ones which I think is quite concerning, that didn't happen, which was there was an expectation of police to be enough away from the rotunda, but to make sure that there is a line of police between the protesters and the counter-protesters. Now, you're on the day. Is that what happened? Did we have a police line between the protesters and the counter-protesters?
Well, I think, Elliot, you've hit the nail on the head, in that there was a fence, there were two barriers to separate the Posie Parker supporters who were there to listen to her speak and the rainbow community. Now, there was a sort of a no man's land between those two barriers, and it seems to me that it would have been sensible for police to have been positioned between those two areas and to have done whatever they could to prevent the rainbow community from tearing down the fences as they did and storming the rotunda. And that didn't happen is the reason that my footage, the footage that I shot and other photographers shot, has become worldwide news.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I want to bring up again that under the concerns of the transactivist group who ended up engaging in the violence, that under concerns there was nothing specific given, written as nothing specific. And yet under the concerns of the woman who wanted to speak, those were the two big concerns, which was expectation of police to stay distance away from the threat but to create a line between them and the crowd of protesters, and request a clean line of contact with police, which, from what you're saying in terms of the footage that you took, and also from what I observed and many other live streams observed, that did not happen. And I think that's extraordinary, really, really sad. I do also want to point out this other part that you've actually put in there, which I think is quite chilling to me, which is you've got a one of the communist people there, Daniel, who's saying people are encouraging others to come into the rotunda from the Kitchener Street side, and then there's a redaction. Then underneath that you've got Richardson Sean saying, team moving there now, 11:09, the scene looks a bit chaotic around the rotunda, can you confirm those are Miss Parker's supporters or counter-protest group? Gray, at 11:10, 1 minute later, counter-protesters, they've disassembled a portion of the fence, some have carried pieces away, other sections of fencing is laying on the ground, not too much, just half dozen sections maybe. Then at 11:12 a.m, Riley moves in and he or she writes, redacted, has approached claiming to have been assaulted and crowd breaking through barriers. She wants police assistance. And then, this is what's most chilling to me, there is a huge block of redacted communications. And I'd like your take on it. For me, this is a chilling amount. I think there's something really concerning there. What is your take on that particular communication passage?
The person who made the OIA request and entrusted me with that response made precisely that point, that there is so much redactions of the real time for a long time. I'm rather a witness to events in that, amongst other photographers, it's my footage which most people see in relation to these matters. Now, a month ago, I contacted New Zealand Police to volunteer myself as a witness and to make my footage available. Between the police and the Independent Police Complaints Authority, they have not been in touch with me at all. And I'm astonished that there are so many redactions in real time from the OIA responses that have been released.
So, this is amazing. You're saying that you have got incredible footage, you were on the spot as a witness, and the police have not approached you to request information from yourself, from the footage that you've made. And they have not done that, even in the Independent Police Complaints Authority. No one has contacted you from that authority to get at least your clear vision of what did happen. Is that correct?
No, not quite correct. They haven't not contacted me. What they have done is not responded to my contact to offer myself as a witness and my footage.
So you've volunteered. You've said, look, hey, I'm here. I'm happy to give you a witness account of what happened, and they have not come back to you, even you volunteering what you saw.
Precisely correct, Elliot.
That's extraordinary. I cannot. That's absolutely extraordinary. Okay, that one's going to take a little while to process a bit, because I find that absolutely extraordinary. Now, of course, we've had, as you just mentioned, Posie Parker jumped on the line, and I was, I'll be honest, pretty heartbroken a little bit about her not coming. And it's not about her coming or not coming. It was the reasons why. The fact that she said that the police cannot protect her or will not protect her. And I just felt something really incredibly devastating about that. What were your thoughts about Posie Parker's, what she spoke about, and the fact that she feels like, and her family begging her not to come? What are your feelings about that?
It shames our country so terribly. It just is absolutely overwhelming that a person cannot come to our country and speak openly. Like, how did we become a place where free speech is just no longer valued, and the safety of people who want to speak cannot be guaranteed and won't be guaranteed by the authorities? Elliot, we know this is not the society that we want to live in.
You've articulated it so well. The New Zealand that we remember, that used to be a place of being able to speak about things, is no more. And you said it, when the police will be unable to protect someone, a woman, for speaking up on women issues. It's absolutely extraordinary. Simon, look, I just want to say thank you so much. I think you're an uso for freedom, to be able to take a documentation of what has happened and really to uncover the rottenness of what we've allowed to now come onto our nation. I think you're one of those few ones who've been able to really help us see clearly what's been happening to our country. So I really hope that you continue on, and I'd love to just leave the last word for yourself. Is there anything you want to say to our audience, anything at all that you'd like to leave us with?
There's one thought I'd like to leave with you, and that is that I really am a nobody, that for some reason I've just become really, really prominent on these issues, and there are a whole bunch of people who've been working really hard out addressing these issues for years and years and years, and it's just incongruous that somehow, suddenly and by accident, people are focusing upon me when there are better voices that ought to be listened to.
Simon Anderson, whamanuia lia atua. Thank you so much also. We look forward to seeing your next amount of work. Cheers.
Thank you, Elliot. Cheerio. Bye-bye.